Howdy everyone, Nimby here. Today we're going to be tying a simple pattern called a duck lake woolly worm. And it's basically just a regular woolly worm. The specific one was tied by a gentleman for the Duck Lake region in Montana. But many variations of this fly are very common within the Northwest. That's a very simple fly, just two materials, and it represents a caddis larva. And we're just tying in our thread, which today is 6 or 8. What are we doing here? 6/0 uni thread in black. Not much point to use an 8/0 or anything smaller. Just tying in two materials. And the two materials that we're going to be using today are ultra chenille and a medium olive, or just your standard size chenille, and a whole bunch of grizzly hackle. Oh, good morning all. Oh, that's good tea. I'm going to be tying up some woolly worms. Well, first step, we just want to get some chenille out. Hey wee man, good to see you anyway. Just doing up some woolly worms today. I'll get this out of the package. Yeah, that'll do. So it's a size, what are we doing, 6 today? Yeah, size 6 Aberdeen hook. And we're just going to strip a little bit off the end of the chenille, just to expose the fibers. Apparently easier said than done, this stuff's tough. What the heck? Alright. Gonna thin it down with my scissors a little bit. Okay, and to add in a little bulk to the body, we're going to tie it along the length of the body. This will also give us a more consistent wrap. Without a big butt lump, we want to avoid the butt lump. And you don't need to go crazy into the bend, just right to the barb on the hook is perfectly fine. I do see people tie these into the bend of the hook, so they're a bit on the curved side. Not my preference, but you do you. You want a curved butt, a woolly worm, you go right at it. And that is probably a more accurate way to tie this fly, because the caddises do have a curved head that comes out of their little house they make. That nice long one, eh? That was beautiful. Yeah, settle down, stream elements. One day I'll set you up correctly. You don't need any special hackle for this, and if your hackle's shorter, you can always tie into, like, bring one up to the middle, clean it off, finish wrapping, tie in the next. It's a very quick and dirty fly, but extremely effective for what it is. Especially, I find I get really good luck on these in the summer, like when it's hotter out, and a lot of other stuff isn't really hitting or nailing. They are in the water column all year, so you can get bites on this almost any time. I like to get my hackle one wrap in. So you can see there, I got one wrap behind it. That stops it from sliding off the butt. In my opinion, it just makes a cleaner fly. You're typically going to fish these pretty low in the water column, so anything that gives you a little bit of an oomph to stop it from getting damaged on weeds and reeds and structure and everything else is a good thing. That part's getting lumpy. Let's just redo that. The first part went nice. He was. Happy Turkey Day to you, mate. Belated or otherwise, don't matter. I'm actually going to twist this. It's a little bit on the flat side, so I'm just going to twist it so I get a little bit more even wraps. Oof, that song is a little too energetic for me at this point in the morning. Let's kill that and get something more chill on. That's better. Still a little on the lumpy side, but good enough. Again, super simple pattern. Great pattern if you're learning. And it's ridiculously effective for how simple it is. It's basically a fuzzy stick. But the hackle does more than just imitate legs. Their legs wouldn't even be where the hackle is. It's up front. They kind of poke out of their little hole. But it imitates a lot of different things, from caddis to dragonfly nymphs, all sorts of stuff. Let's see what we can do for hackle players here. Let's just use the good old standards. Oh, buddy, why are you twisting so much? Put some twist on it. Get it to sit in there. Avoid that hook point. Like I said, this doesn't have to be, in fact it shouldn't be, your best good dry fly hackle. It should be your, the saddle hackle is going to work a little better for you because it's longer, but it really don't matter. You're just doing quick and dirty palmering. But longer saddle hackle like this will make the palmering job a little easier on you. Like I said, if you need to, you can easily back that thread up over top the chenille or in between the wrap. Seriously, buddy. Alright, let's switch to the rotary. You can easily, oh, the rake is actually broke there. I thought it just came loose. Oh, good enough. Yeah, you can easily, use up some kind of junkier hackle that you have laying around. Just simple grizzly cape hackle. Never happens to me. That's like gotta be the first time, I think. Good thing it's on film, so people can say it's happened to me at least once. Now, I do like to palmer this with the, come on, rotary hackle. Do your job. I do like to palmer this, personally. I just feel that these work better this way with the fatter end of the feather this way, so not the tip, but the base of the hackle feather. To the smaller end, there's a very minute, on this feather anyway, sometimes it's a little more pronounced depending on your feather. And if you're using it from a cape or using it from a saddle, saddles are going to be a lot more even. I do like to palmer it so that the thicker ends at the back and thinner is at the front. And by doing that, it's not so much that we have a thicker and a thinner it's not so much that we have a thicker and thinner end on the hackle, but what ends up happening is if you're wrapping it in from thick to thin instead of thin to thick, your hackle will typically like to lay facing forward a bit. I don't know if you can see it on the camera here, but I'll rotate it and maybe we'll get to it at that point. But if you can see, the hackle's laying kind of more this direction all the way. And you can wrap it the other way, so the hackle will lay just slightly the other direction. I prefer laying it forward on the fly. To me, when you're pulling it through the water, because a lot of times with these you'll just pulse them, or you'll drag them in, strip them in. But having the hackle facing forward just gives you a lot more water displacement and movement, which is what the fish are going to be keying in on. And just a bigger silhouette altogether. You're going to be moving and displacing a lot more water, which is kind of the whole point of this fly. It's definitely not going to win Miss Universe fly or anything like that. It's there to move a lot of water and upset some fish and get them to nail it. I got that tied in okay? Yeah, looks like I did. Kind of surprised I used that whole use that whole guy up there, to be honest. I didn't think I was going to. Okay, so I'm just going to pull these back a hair so we don't tie them in. And the original patterns had like medium-sized heads on them, caddis larvae, and dragonfly nymphs. So most of the things that this is really going to be imitating. Excuse me. Tea time. Most of the things that's going to be imitating in the water have fairly large heads. And not only large heads, but dark heads. But personal preference and all that good stuff, if you wanted to, you could definitely have like a dun olive to match the green, so you have a similar head color. Maybe we'll do one or two up with that. Personal preference is to have a nice dark medium to large head. Come on, fibers. I don't want to cut you off, I don't have to. Just gonna see if we can push these back a bit. And they're just to that point where they're not annoying, but they're annoying. Let's see if we can work a few more of them back. There we go. So I'm just gonna make a somewhat larger head. I've seen people tie these with mono eyes too. I'm not gonna do that. I understand why, because like I said, a lot of the insects that it's going to be imitating have fairly large heads and eye stalks. I'm just going for like a medium bulbous head that's just a little smaller than the body, just like that. Because again, we don't want it to torpedo, we want it to be moving water, so. But yeah, super simple. There is your fairly classic anyway woolly worm. This one's called a Dun Lake woolly worm. I'll just throw some head cement on that. Do a nice lacquer head on it too. They have a very, like I said, very distinguished head. I don't have any pictures to hand. I really should make a folder up of all the aquatic insect pictures that I have, and I can bring them up on stream for people that aren't familiar with the buggy bugs. It's not a bad idea, actually. I really should do that. Not that you always have to imitate a bug, but a lot of times I do. So. I'll give everyone 2 guesses on why they call it a woolly worm. Just 2 though, you don't get any more. I think I got a whiff of head cement in the eye there, so I'm just gonna clean it. I don't know. There we go. Yeah, just put in a hackle rachis. Any glue you got on there will stick to the rachis to get pulled out. Get in a hole. There we go. And I'm just gonna throw a dab of Sally Hansen's on that to keep that head nice and shiny. Yeah, I'd like to. Just trying to think. Trying to think of a book I have around that has a decent picture of a caddis larva. I think Jack Shaw's book has some decent pictures in it. Hey, give me a second, I'll go grab it. 1 second. Just let me get sorted back up here. Excuse me. More tea time. Oh. Yeah, Jack Shaw was a very famous fly terror. And I've had the privilege to meet and everything for a local area. There we go. Boop. Jack Shaw. And his books, this one is trashed and old, and that's my old phone number in it from way back when. His books have a good number of decent photos in them. Morning! Sorry I got my head in a book here. Just give me 2 seconds, I'll be right with you. Aha, there we go. Well, that's fly pictures. Let's get to the insects. Maybe I'm thinking it's in his second book. 1 second. Here's the second book. Trophy flies for trophy trout, or tying flies for trophy trout from the Campbell's area. Morning, Victoria. Good to have you in. I'm just looking for a picture for Ewads here, so it'll just take me a second. I'll get that to you guys here. Wow, I got this book in '92. Yeah, that's dating me a little bit. If I recall right, this book had some really nice. There we go. Okay, there's a shrimp. I'm just gonna find the caddis larva here. I got gobs of books with different, lots and lots of entomology books. I'm doing well today, thank you. Haha, there we go. Okay, and ironically, it actually has a picture of what we're tying, just in the red form. So, there's the red form. That's more like if we're fishing, I definitely would tie it this color and with the red hackle if I'm fishing up in the grasslands around here where there's a lot more grass and cattails because the water has this tannin brown color. But this is what we're going after. You can see it poking out of its... Yeah, there you go. Sedgefly larva. Woolly worm. So, that's what we're tying. But you can see they make their own little house out of whatever they can find around. So every lake has a different type of caddis larva in it. Because the larva is hiding in its house that it's making right there. And this guy just cut up all these. Yeah, I'm on the mountain time zone. Yeah, I wake up at like 4 in the morning and start getting my tying stuff together, make a nice tea, slowly wake up and join you guys for some tying every morning. That's been the plan for about a month now, and I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, there you go. So that's a caddis larva. It's just a big old bug inside of a tube of junk that they glue together with their spit. And yeah, I'm actually kind of happy to see that he has a woolly worm there as a. Hey, he even put it on the back of his book. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, that's a decent picture of a caddis larva. You don't. When they come out, they look kind of like just a big grub worm. Yeah, Pacific time too, on the west coast, I guess. It's been Earl Grey for the last bit. Just Twinnings, Earl Grey. And this is like their 300th anniversary edition or whatever, but it tastes the same to me. I was gonna go with orange pico, but we're doing that one today. So there you go. That's what a caddis larva looks like, or a sedge larva. They're really cool bugs because, like I said, every lake you go to, they look different. Some of them use like little rocks, and they'll make like their house out of little pebbles. Some of them will use pieces of cattail. I don't really have a cork ready. I'm getting bad with my corks here. They're all getting kind of... Let's move these guys over. Give us a nice clean spot to attach these. Oh, that's a little bit fast-paced for me this morning. Let's chill out a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so that's him. Actually, I should have been rotating him, so let's rotate him just for a minute. So that's a duck lake woolly worm. It's very classic, very simple, 2-material fly. Some green, olive green, generally dark chenille, but you can have this tied in anywhere from a tan all the way up to this dark green. Anything in that kind of brown to green color range is perfectly fine. This one was made for the duck sorry, this one was made for the Duck Lake area of Montana. It wasn't tied for anyone specific, but it became very popular there in the 40s and 50s. And it represents a sedge or a caddis larva, but it also imitates a dragonfly nymph and many other larger aquatic insects in the water column. It moves a ton of water with all the bristly hackle, and it's really good for middle season when it's hot in the summer and they're not nailing on a lot of other things because they get nice and juicy. That's a Duck Lake woolly worm. There we are. He's substantially bigger than all the little nymphs I was talking. You can hang out here for a sec, buddy. We'll get you some friends here in a minute. These are nice and quick. I should be able to bang off a good half dozen of these before we're finished up, hopefully. That's the other nice thing about these is you can, because the caddis larvae, as you can tell, because they make their home out of all the junk in the lake, they're typically going to be kind of in the middle depth for the shallows, and you're going to be fishing them near, wow, that one's wonky, let's fix that. You're going to be fishing them near structure and closer to the bottom. So as said, you will lose a lot of these if you're fishing them in the right spot. And if you don't lose them, you're going to beat them up. So again, we're going to start off with our black thread, and this is going to be 6/0 uni in black. Like I said, you can use a matching thread color if you so choose. Like this one in this case would be a olive dun in 6/0. Would match our chenille. However, personal preference, I like a nice dark head on it because as you can see from the pictures, they have a very pronounced head. And especially in the later season, before they start emerging a whole lot, their heads get a lot darker. They're almost black, especially their eye stalks. So for my money, it's better to do that. Okay, should get another fly out of this one. There you go. Well, I got my day planned out for me, but I got a long weekend this weekend, so woo! I'm working. Saving the world one printer at a time. Hopefully printers today. I don't want to do email. I did email like all day yesterday. Not a big fan. Just blows my mind why so many people use Outlook. There's so many problems with it. It's like, just use your internet. Yeah, Black Friday. I haven't been paying attention to any Black Friday fishing deals, but I'm sure there's a lot of good ones out there. Probably should have actually paid attention to that, made a few shorts or something on some of the more standard stuff, because yeah, you can stock up right now. Nice. Yeah, I don't go back until Thursday. I got like a whole week off, so. Yeah, this one's a little on the long side. You know what? For kicks and giggles, I think I'm gonna do that anyway. Just to show that, like, this fly really doesn't matter what you're tying in. That's one thing that's really nice to have is new boots and rain gear. Like, old stuff will work just fine for you, but like if you have new rain gear, it just feels so much nicer to be dry, you know? Look at how kinky that one is too. That's a kinky little bugger. I like to tie in my rakuses like super long. You don't generally see me do this, but like, whoop, as I pull it right out, you can see how long I left the racus there. But I almost always do that if my feathers are long enough for this one. Totally not necessary though. You can completely skip that. I just picked me up some, I have a live fishing video with me wearing them. Actually, you can see them in the video if you care about what boots I'm wearing. But, oh, one other thing you can do with this fly too, just popped into my head, and throw it out there before I forget again, is you can palmer some copper wire after to hold the hackle together. I'll do that if I'm fishing it in creeks or like inlets or outlets to a lake, because it'll hold the hackle on be a lot more durable, and also add a little bit of weight to help get it down a bit. And you can weight this with wire or lead or whatever you have kicking around. I'm just gonna twist this up again. It's getting flat on me. Come on, buddy. Why are you flattening out so much on me? Yeah, it does, they are a neutrally buoyant fly naturally. Like, you'll see them just kind of floating in the water column. But as far as fishing them goes, it's a lot easier if they have some weight to them to get them down. But since they are basically in a log house, you know, they don't fly around the lake like an Evinrude. They're extremely slow bugs. So it's a catch-22. If you have it all done up nice with some lead, you can get it down to the depth that you need to fish at quicker, but then you also lose a little bit of that. Come on, buddy. Come on, I'd like to get one more wrap in on you. Are you gonna let me? I don't think you're going to. Stay. Yeah, we'll go with that. That'll be fine. Yeah, these things aren't going to be motorboating around the pond. They're exceedingly slow because 90% of their body's stuck in a piece of wood. I've heard that frog togs, like for money, are really decent. If you don't mind, you know, getting stuff from across the pond. Yeah, I mean, if there is a current, like I said, a lot of times I'll fish these because they're a little more active and common in places where there's a lot more oxygen. So like an inlet or outlet where a creek's coming in or a creek's leaving, you'll see a lot more of them. They're all throughout the lake in the same water column, but they're going to attach themselves to reeds and cattails and that kind of thing and just hang out. But yeah, I would, here, let's get a hackle plier on that again. Slippy, I don't want to let go. Yeah, I'd fish them, get it down to kind of the depth, and then just strip it back. When they do move, which they don't move a whole lot, they either crawl, like you saw with the picture there, with their head sticking out. Ugh. They have like 6 little legs, as you can see here in the picture, that stick out. So they'll grab onto something, they'll crawl along it, and then when they're in the water column, they kind of flick, and they just go like boop, 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 boop. So you could strip it, like finger stripping, just pulling a line, and that works quite well. Because you want to excite the trout into thinking that it's something, and the same token you want to kind of exaggerate the movement a little bit. so they're more likely to smack it and nail it. That's true. Yeah, if you're looking for just something to do like on the farm and you want something that's going to hold up, I'd say frog togs. Because they're, in my opinion, I have Helly Hansen and I have frog togs. And I have many other different brands like North Flies and, you know, pretty much all the major ones. Frog togs, in my opinion, are by far the most durable. Not even comparable to the other ones. So if you want something that's going to hold up to you kneeling in dirt and poop and sticks and whatever, get some frog togs. Just don't even mess around with it, just get some. That all being said, they're not the most comfortable. They do feel a little bit more like you're wearing a trash bag. Yeah, they're a good product, and like for the money, they're really good for the money, in my opinion. Like you feel like you've, it's a good price point for the most part. I mean, they do have their higher end and lower end stuff too. But I'm happy with all the frog tog gear I've ever gotten. It's all been secondhand, mind you. Doesn't really feel like I got that in there as well as it should. Wrap it again. There's lots of decent silicone treatments too that actually can make a world of difference in your ring gear. So kind of regardless of which one you get, I'd highly recommend treating it after. I use a lot of kind of old school treatments on my boots. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with rain gear. If you're going to be using it like Victoria's talking about and you're going to be kneeling in dirt and that, you're going to want something that's a little more robust than something that's on the Gore-Tex side, because the way Gore-Tex works is it has millions of tiny little pores in basically what's Teflon. And if you block those pores, not only does it stop being waterproof, but it stops breathing and you just start sweating like crazy. So frog togs is a mix. It's generally a polyethylene material with a rubberized coating on it, but it's more your traditional slicker style outfit. But again, if you're going to be out there in dirt and getting dirty and kneeling down and all that, I would not recommend Gore-Tex. It's not going to last long for you. It'll be great for the first week. You'll love it, but then then it won't. And if you're getting super dirty and working outside all day, then you want to go old school and basically just do like a oil cloth like the cowboys used to use, and that will last you all day and you won't sweat and it's breathable and you can get as dirty as you want and you can just retreat it. And I'd recommend treating your boots that way anyway, as long as they're leather. And you can make your own concoctions out of beeswax and the beeswax, Vaseline, and what do I normally use? Beeswax, Vaseline, and there's a third component. Some kind of oil to make the leather supple. Can't remember which oil I was using. Seal oil, something like that. We have many over-the-counter stuff we use up here in Canada for the winter, because it just wrecks your boots. So that guy's super, yeah, mink oil, thank you, that's the word I was looking for. And like, if you don't have access to that, being where you are, Victoria, you can get, just go into any sports store where they have baseball gear, and a lot of the same stuff they use for softening baseball gloves. And a lot of times you can actually get it cheaper in a sports store for glove care stuff in a much bigger bottle. You can rub that into your boots. And it takes a while for the application to work properly, so I'll normally rub it all over my boots and then leave it by the fireplace for a couple hours. And it'll help it soak in really nice. And then once that's soaked in the first layer, then I'll rub it with wax and the Vaseline. And you can beat your boots up once you get a few layers of that on. And if you're in mud and salt and whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so there's our Duck Lake woolly worm. This one's in a dark olive, medium chenille, with a grizzly hackle palmered forwards, nice and thick. We want to move a lot of water, want a lot of movement on that to displace the water as we're pulling it back. This little creature lives in not swamps, but small ponds, lakes, rivers, and creeks, and it likes to make its own little house wrapped around itself. It has sticks, twigs, little pebbles, and anything it can find. So they're different in every lake and water body that you're going to be in. But the color ranges are normally from this dark olive down to a light tan. Again, depending on the vegetation, everything they have to make their little house out of. And this one was specifically tied for the Duck Lake area of Montana. Probably about the 40s and 50s is when it was really popular. Super simple fly, 2 materials, and it'll work almost always. These things are almost always in the water column. Yeah, I'm not sure how well they'd sell. Like, yeah, you can mass produce these guys super quick. But on a sales aspect, I mean, people always tend to, in my opinion, not that I'm right or anything, people like to grab the shiny, flashy flies. So one thing you could do is make this a little closer to a woolly bugger and add, say, like a black brass bead to it, or a tungsten bead. I don't know if I go with tungsten because you'd be putting a little too much weight, in my opinion, on the head. But like a hollow brass bead would make it a little bit more consumer friendly, I suppose. Add a little weight and maybe not add a lot of tying time. Yeah, this is a Duck Lake woolly worm. I'm not getting these in there quite smack on right today. Come on. Huh, maybe my hook's just a little bent. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I do try to get it in there nice and straight. Yeah, that's true. Like Mark's Work Warehouse in Canada. I don't know what you guys have down there, but if you go to the Carhartt website, actually, I've done that before, and they have a store locator, and you'd be surprised at what stores carry Carhartt stuff. And Carhartt's a good, like I said, traditional work base for something that you can make waterproof, because you can take the hard duck cotton that they have and thank you. Yeah, it's very simple, extremely effective in the summer. As you can tell, the fish, these are like a good chunky morsel, so the fish really like to nail them. Hey Robert, good to have you in, mate. Didn't catch your name there for a second. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, Robert, we're just tying up some woolly worms today. Super simple little fly. Very effective. I think you missed my pictures, so I'll show that to you. Like I said, I really should get some, like a little file folder full of entomology pictures. But this is basically the fly we're tying right here. It's on the back of Jack Shaw's book for local fly tying, local fly fishing book. But that's what we're looking at. So it's basically a larva that makes its own house out of junk it finds around in the pond or the lake. You see in this case he's cutting up those grass reeds and gluing them together, and that's its head sticking out there, and they have about 6 feet. Yeah, I wouldn't suspect it would be hard to find card stuff. There we go. Alright, well that's good tea. Okay, let's get moving on this. Gonna tie this in now. Alright, so we got our thread base. We're just gonna start up here. I do like to tie it in if it will stop. Come on, straighten out. There we go. It's fighting me. Come on, buddy. You want to become a pretty little woolly fly. There we go. So I'm going to take this back just to the barb. I said there are people that tie them into the bend. It's not uncommon to do that. Not my thing. I like them nice and straight. Because when they do hang out of their little house, like you can see in that picture there, the heads do generally, and the bodies will hang out on an angle. So that's why a lot of people will tie them into the bend. Basically almost backwards. And there's many of these like more realistic versions. I'm sure you've seen Brian tie somewhere that's hanging out the back on the bend of the hook there, and then it's backwards in the butts over here. Again, this one's just a quick, dirty, works for you kind of fly. And I really like tying realistic flies like that, but to be honest, this one, sometimes you don't need to go that much work in that detail for it to be a good functional fly. You really don't. One second here. And the other nice thing about this fly is you really don't need to be as picky as I'm being with the hackle. You can use just whatever you got. It doesn't matter if the link's a little bit off, because we're not trying to float this thing. It's really just providing imitation of legs and movement in the water. Not gonna be too big. Well, we're gonna find out by tying it in. I love this cape. Look how boofy this thing is, like a pillow. It's so big. Look how big that thing is. Just massive. Like the rooster this must have came off of. It must have been a substantial bird. It's a big boy. It's a really old cape though. Sorry, not a cape. That's a saddle. My bad. So we're just going to strip off the wispy bits. Yeah, it's a little bit more. You can see them standing out 90 there, so. Yeah, there you go. No, Nimby, although that is a common phrase for Nimby, and although I probably don't like a lot of things going on in my backyard, that's not where the name comes from. Nimby's always been my nickname for all my little characters, and it was also one of the names of one of my pet rats. One of my first rats, actually. So ever since he passed away, I've just kind of carried it along. Yeah, from video games to all sorts of other stuff. That's my little name now. Just go by Nimby. So although it can have like some, I guess, political undertones to it, as that has nothing to do with why I use it. There we go, got that side in. I do like to tie that in much longer than normal. I also like to have at least one wrap to the butt so it doesn't slide over the edge. Now let's twist this up a bit. I'm assuming this chenille's pretty old. It just came in a batch of other chenille I had, but it's got that, almost feels like it has that little, some of the older chenille used to be wrapped up with an aluminum wire on the side, so it was almost a little bit more like a oh okay, well that's kind of another way to think about it. But yeah, Nimby's the name I go by. That's just nothing more crazy or special about that. One wrap didn't go in there the way I wanted it to. Let's try again. I must admit I'm not familiar with a spotted lanternfly. Is that like a firefly? That's the other cool thing about this hobby is you'll never, I mean, there's, God, almost endless varieties of patterns and stuff to learn about entomology and biology and nature and all sorts of stuff. It's awesome. It's always learning. I don't think I'll ever get bored of that kind of thing. Left a little poof here. I'm going to try and trim that a little bit. I need to sharpen my scissors too, and like I said, I got a couple days off, so I think I'm going to work on doing some long form videos on how to an invasive species. Oh, is that his actual name, or is that like a nickname for it? Spotted lanternfly. I'll have to look that up. See, there you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Can be do this like your whole lifetime and you'll still run into things all the time that you have no idea about. Oh, why is it always that the invasive species seem to come from Asia? Nothing against Asia, just seems to be that way. Not that it matters where it comes from, I'm not anti-Asian whatsoever. But it just seems like, especially lately, like all the kind of more nastier invasive stuff seems to be coming from Asia. Probably because it has a more temperate climate, and then when it gets over here and it actually can survive, that it just takes over. There you go. Oh, that was lucky. That snapped on me right when I had it in. But I got her. I didn't realize I actually wrapped my hackle backwards that time. Kind of threw me off when I got to the end of the fly. I was like, what's going on here? Not that there's a right and a wrong way to wrap hackle. It's just the way I normally wrap. There are some ups and downsides to wrapping it left or wrapping it right, but I think we've gone over those in the past. Mostly has to do with counter wrapping. Yeah, gotta like it when you get lucky and catch it right before it snaps. I got a couple more fronds there I want to get rid of. You guys gonna behave and lay back, or are you just gonna stick around? No, you're not. Alright. Off with its head. It was a little short, like half a wrap there, so I don't want to get rid of all those. Alright. Now the point where we build up a nice head, and you can stop right here. You don't need to build up a big head. Like I said, this is personal preference. I like mine to have a pretty bulbous black head on them. Let's see, plenty of them. Like Jack Shaw's here, good example. See, his just has a regular thin head on it. He doesn't build it up. And in a lot of people's opinion, he was a fly tying master, one of the locals. But again, personal preference. I just like to make a nice big bulbous head because I think it just imitates a handful of other. Seriously, buddy, I've been trying to miss you this whole time. Now you're gone. And it helps to imitate other aquatic insects that are going to be in the water column, like dragonfly nymphs and such. My OCD is tweaking. I gotta get that piece of hackle out of there. There we go. Alright, throw a couple half hitches, get next one going. Yeah, it's definitely a fly you could go full out production mode on, have your hackle laid out and have your chenille pre-cut and just whip a whole ton of these off rather quickly. Especially if you're not building up a head like that, you could have these tied up. You could fill a box hole. Once the water's liquid again, well, it's not frozen yet, but it will be shortly. I'd like to actually do more just going out and actually catching bugs and taking more pictures of the actual bugs in the lake. Or videos, some more like in-depth stuff of what we're trying to imitate. They're happy with that. You see, I missed that, like, say half a wrap because I went back the other way, so it would normally be like this direction on this side and I wouldn't have that big empty spot, so that's my bad. Like I said, I was just wrapped it in the wrong direction. Fish won't care. It's all good. There we go. I have to admit, besides like setting quill wings or having a nice hackle collar come out, putting the head cement on the fly is like one of my favorite parts. It just finishes it off. It's like a cherry on the cake. It just kind of brings it to life, and it's definitely a part that I enjoy. As long as I don't screw it up while I'm doing that. There we go. Yeah, that's a good example of the way I like the heads to look. Is just round, bulbous, black, and shiny like that. There, we'll get him. There, I can hang out. Trying to get on a lighter part of my shirt. There we go. Like that. Just a bulbous, slightly smaller than the body width, but big, black, and round, and shiny. Just gonna rotate that for a second. It's gonna take a bit longer with the Sally Hansen takes a second to set up. Sometimes I wish I was able to use the UV resins. There's lots of cool stuff you can do with them, and they're just a neat product. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's so many neat things you can do with the stuff, but I'm just ridiculously allergic to the stupid stuff. And it's not an uncommon allergy, too, so anyone that's using that stuff, you might want to try some out at a fly shop before you buy a bunch. Because apparently it's not an uncommon allergy. Bone Dry actually makes a specific line that's less allergenic because so many people have reactions to it. But yeah, if I get it on my skin at all, and I've had some people comment on the lives like, "Oh, just don't get it on your skin then." And it's just like, well, it's kind of like anti-seize. You know, it gets all over everything. You touch the cap, you touch the fly after, you know. Yeah, for whatever reason, my skin does not like it. It just breaks out in blisters. It's nasty. But yeah, maybe sometime in the future they'll make a different formulation that's not as nasty. The other slight concern I have is that, you know, powerful UV light is obviously a carcinogen too, so keeping that in mind is always a good thing. There we go. Have some more tea before I hit the other one in. We got 3 done already. That's not bad. Not that I'm timing myself for any sort of hurry here at all. There, look at that. Got that one just smacking straight that time. That's pretty. That's not wobbly at all. Much better than the last one. Okay, so we're just gonna tie this in. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, and like I said, it's just a personal problem. I'm not saying not to use it. It's a cool product. If you can use it, if I could use it, I would be using it. But you know, I've tied literally tens of thousands of flies with just regular head cement and Sally Hansen's indoor super glue for some patterns. The super glue I normally use is this stuff. Yeah, on the level. It's always nice when you do something like that, just pop it in and it's like, oh, well, that worked out perfectly. Well, that's the super glue I use. Zap-A-Gap's another really common one. I had some Zap-A-Gap, but I didn't put the cap on, and I zapped my gap and it solidified. But Zap-A-Gap with the little applicator brush is also another really common one that you'll see people use. I'm just going to thin out this end a bit. I don't know what kind of chenille this is. I'm feeling like it's older chenille. Not super old though. I'm thinking maybe 80s. 80s, 90s. Because I don't know if you can tell here, but it's like, it's stiff. Like it's got some rigidity and memory to it, which modern chenille doesn't have normally. Back in the 70s, if you get some old chenille, back when all the aluminum wire was really common in housing, they used to take a thin piece of aluminum and wrap it in the middle of the chenille, and it feels like this. It makes it a lot more stiff. Makes it more durable too, but makes it feel more like a pipe cleaner. And that reminds me of this stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just is what it is. It's still nice stuff. It's floofy. It's a little more on the flat side. You can see there's definitely a flat side to it. And I can't puff it out like I can with a more modern chenille. So twisting it seems to work. Now let's get you in the material clip. Come on, don't be a booger. There we go. Alright, we need to get another feather from this wonderful saddle. It's gonna be a long time before I thin this guy out, but when that day comes, I will be sad panda because I like this thing. I got this just in a lot of random old vintage fly tying stuff. When I first got it, I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever use that or use it that often. Then I started using it, and it's like, dang, it's one of my favorite little capes, or saddles in this case. Well, it's going good. I'm just trying to pick out a saddle hackle here, but I'm for whatever reason struggling to find one long enough. Where last time I was finding a whole ton of them. Let's change angles here. Sorry, I know I'm blocking the camera, guys. We're right with you. Yeah, let's go with that one. He's gonna be even more poofy than the last one that was poofy. But that should do us. Again, don't need anything special for this. Like, use up your junk hackle. You can tie in several smaller pieces without much problem. Because this is not meant to be a pretty fly. It's just meant to be a movement imitator and catch fish. Yeah, another common way to tie these two is to tie them in up front. Tie in a copper wire on the back, wrap it, and then chase it with the copper. I could do one that way, actually. Let's do that. Why don't we do that? Let's do that. I'm at the point where we can jump in and get that done. Yeah. Yeah, it's from, what did I say, Michigan? Yeah, Duck Lake, Michigan. Or, sorry, Duck Lake, Montana. One of those other M words. So, just soft copper. This is small, yeah. Small soft copper, nothing special. You can use whatever you got. Soft copper or a softer wire. One of my favorite things to actually use for this is wire from a old broken USB cable. I got gobs of it. It's just in my drawer down there, and I'm not going to pull it out. But it's a little thinner than this. It's a nice, real soft, as you know from USB cables, very malleable. But it's strong enough to, well, one, it's free. Actually, one thing I'm going to do here, don't need to do this because I'm tying it in the full length, but just for kicks and giggles. Hemostats with little knurls on them. Come on, eyeballs. Sorry, with all my filming lighting, it's hard for me to see thin things like this. There we go. So, oh, I didn't grab that very well, did I? There we go. You guys get the idea. Into the pliers. Crunch. That's it. That's all you need. Don't need to go gorilla on it or anything. Just a little crunchy crunch. And what that does, hopefully the camera will pick it up. Camera doesn't really. Oh, maybe if I get the light to hit it right. But I guess you guys get the idea. Just put a little knurls. You can see them just a little bit there on the end. There we go. It just knurls the end and gives it a little grip like a Velcro. Stops it from sliding out. Works a treat. So again, we're going to tie this in our whole length. And we're going to end this right at the finish of the chenille instead of at the slightly forward point we would tie our hackle in at. And we're going to wrap our body next, or sorry, we're gonna wrap our body next and then tie in our hackle. The first wrap I do without twisting it, or half wrap, and then I'll twist. That way you get a nice flat lay on the back of the hook there. That's true. Maybe I could use like monofilament or fiber optic instead of copper. But yeah, the couple things that work really good for that, because I love repurposing things for fly tying. It's like a side hobby besides fly tying, and it just makes my heart sing. But the other thing you can use for that, which I just got, and I'll probably do a video this week on it actually, is telephone wire. So not the stuff that you have, well, you can use the stuff that goes from your phone to your headset, or the curled kind, it's just not as convenient. But if you use like the indoor-outdoor telephone wire, it's 5 strands to 8 strands depending on the company you go with. But the benefit of doing that is it's like USB cable where it's not braided together. So it's just single strands. You can just pull them out, cut off a section or whatever you need, and get your couple dozen strands right out of it. And it's the perfect diameter. So if you got some old school telephone wire or telephone indoor-outdoor telephone wire like you'd run in your house, that works a treat for copper. Where did I put the feather? There it is. Sorry. Didn't put it down where I should have. Okay, so this one we're going to be palmering the opposite direction with the opposite. We're going to go thick to thin. That's what my brain's trying to say. Now, it's going to look different than the other one because by doing that, our fronds should have an angle this way to the back of the fly. Should, hopefully. Of course, I'm going to say that and it'll be the opposite. Okay, well, hopefully that's in there well enough because it broke. I'm assuming it is, but we'll find out in a second here. Test pole! Test pole! Yeah, you look good enough. He's gonna get buried in when we make the head anyway, so as long as it makes the wraps, we're good. One downside of slightly vintage material is it can be a little more on the brittle side. Okay, so I want to wrap this way, so come on, get out of there. There we go. The only difference is wrapping, or one of the differences is wrapping this. Will you please just stay in your lane, sir? There we go. As you want to make sure you get at least one full wrap around the head before you go back. Not only does it strengthen the wrap, but it'll you need an anchoring point or it'll slide on you. So it's very similar to when you're finishing off something, you got to do a few wraps before you move it over. So we're going to bring this all the way back. Hopefully this is long enough. Okay, let me move my hackle pliers just a hair further down. Do this without losing it. Come on, buddy. Need to get another wrap out of you. Okay, there we go. We got her. Oh, I got her and then it let go on me. 1 second. We can recover. So I hope we can. Wow, that's really slippy. There we go. Okay, let's do this again. Gentle, gentle, just a whiff. Just a whiff. Okay, so we're gonna bring that right back to the copper, and then we're gonna be wrapping our copper the opposite way. There we go. So we try not to trap more than we need to. Copper works really well for this because the fronds don't stick to it. I've done a few other videos where I'm using floss or flexi floss or different things to chase it. And in my opinion, just go with copper wire. It always works better than almost every other material for not catching your fronds. It's strong enough, it adds a little shine, adds some segmentation. There's no real reason to. Oop. That could have been bad. Okay, let's throw a hackle plier on that so I don't lose it again. Thankfully it was buried in the chenille there a little bit before I let go. There, so this will add a lot more durability, so this would be a pattern or a different technique I would use if I was fishing it in around a creek or somewhere where I know it's going to get banged on a lot of rocks. I'm getting more wraps on here than I want to, just because I want to make sure that it's seated in there. I should be able to bend it backwards and forwards here and then do my helicopter. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Yeah, let's get its butt cut. Cut the butt. There you go, that'd be another method of doing it. Like I said, I'd personally, if I was tying them, well, these will probably go in my own box anyway, but if I'm doing them for my own box and I want to go a little bit away from the traditional pattern, that will add a ton more durability to the fly. Especially if I'm casting areas, like I said, creek fishing for sure. It's not something I'd normally use in a creek, but if I'm fishing like the mouth of a creek that's letting into a lake, or there's a lake nearby, these guys will come up and down the water columns and they'll be in the creek too. They do need stagnant, non-moving water, so you won't see them far up a creek, but like the first 500 meters to a kilometer or so, yeah, for sure, they'll be there. Oh, the sun's coming up and my chickens are going nuts. I can hear them getting ready for the day. Well, that's a call for me to finish up my tea. Come on, buddy. Ho, ho, ho. Let's try that again. So my problem there is I'm trying not to tie the hackle in, so let's just push the hackle back a bit just to give me fighting chance for the whip finish. There we go. Trust the process. There we go, so that's a chased woolly bugger. It'd be interesting actually to fish this with one of these and then one of the regulars and see if I notice any difference. I might do that this spring. Just one second. I need to sharpen those things. Hey Maddie, good to have you in, mate. I think I got it. Yeah, that looks okay. Just doing up some woolly worms. These ones are Duck Lake woolly worms. But they come in all different shapes and varieties. Nice, super simple 2 material fly. Well, in this case 3 because we added some copper wire to it for kicks and giggles. Yeah, morning, Maddie. Good to have you in, mate. Oh, sorry, Doug popped in. I didn't realize it was Doug. Morning, Doug, if you're still here, mate. Oh, that little piece is still there. One second, I gotta try and get that. I slipped with my scissors when I was cutting my thread, and it's still hanging out there. Good to have you in, Doug. Sorry about that. There we go, much better. Still just got a little bit of a lump on there, but all good. So that's a Duck Lake woolly worm in olive green, in this case dark olive green chenille for the body. And it's being tied on a number 6 Aberdeen hook with a straight eye. And it was very popular in Duck Lake, Montana area for rainbows. It's basically imitating a caddis fly, or sorry, not caddis fly, caddis pupa, or a sedge pupa, where they make their little home around themselves with all sorts of plant matter, sticks, twigs, whatever they can get a hold of. The main idea of the pattern is to displace and move a lot of water as you're tweaking it back in. And it's a great pattern for like middle of summer. I have a lot of success on this when it's really hot and they're not hitting anything else. And grizzly hackle palmered across, of course, and we chase this one with some copper wire. Alright, let's get that one in the cork here. There's all its friends. A little woolly bugger reunion. I got room for a couple more on the cork there. We'll get at least one more in here. I was gonna move into some nymphs later, but I think I might switch over to streamers. Ugh. You guys have any preference for what kind of flies you want to see tied? For the, not for this round, but for future rounds. I was gonna finish up a number of nymph patterns I had listed up, but I just don't really feel like I'm in the nymph mood, so might switch back to it later. But everyone likes streamers because they're colorful and poofy, and I don't really tie a lot of streamers on here. Not as many as I should, I suppose. Okay, let's get some more chenille going. Stimulator, hey, that's a good one. Yeah, I got all sorts of patterns like stimulators. I could do something like that. Those are fun too. I enjoy tying those. These ones here. Where to go? Oh, these guys. The flax. They're not stimulators, but I like tying these. So you can tell there's a whole whack of them. Very similar to a stimulator, just these were like stimulators before stimulators were a thing. But these guys here, they're a little bit messed up. I think the there you go. So nice orange body, Palmer grizzly. You got your pheasant, golden pheasant tail on the back, deer hair wing, and a poofy front that pushes a lot of water. These things are deadly when there's top water stuff going on. I don't have any stimulators tied up though, but I got gobs of these guys. But yeah, pretty close to a stimulator anyway. What else do I got here that's close to stimulator that I was tying up? Well, those the sofa cushions, they're kind of like a stimulator. There's sofa cushion. The red body. No worries, mate. I'm almost out of tea. We can get one more in here before we run out of tea. Have a good morning, Ewas. Thanks for dropping in, mate. Always a pleasure to have you. Thanks for starting your morning off with me. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, you too, man. Happy Black Friday, if that's something that we wish each other. I don't know if it's actually a holiday or not. You know, should we celebrate a commercial thing? I don't know. I don't feel like we really should, but I can still wish someone a happy day. Oh, I appreciate that, mate. I'm trying to get my watch time up a little bit, so I do appreciate it when people run it, and as long as they're, you know, as long as they're there and hanging out and listening, that's all good. Definitely not trying to play the YouTube algorithms and get time that I'm not set for. Yeah, this little weird guy that's hanging out. That little weird guy hanging on the side. Let's make one out of him. He's kind of doing his own thing out there. I don't know what he's doing over on the back side of the cape, but he's gonna become a fly now. Thank you. I enjoy having you in my streams, and I enjoy yours too. I always kind of wondered, like, you know that scene in Toy Story where they have the claw hand come down and grab the little Martian dudes, and they're all like, "Ooh, he's been chosen." I wonder if hackles kind of do the same thing, and they're like, "Ooh, pick me." Do, 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 do. Yeah, I don't know if we got any new subscribers this round, but if you're watching and you're enjoying what you're seeing, generally out here almost every morning, feel free to drop a subscribe, hit the likey button. It makes the number go up. That makes me happy. I like seeing numbers go up. And yeah, feel free to join us next time. Always happy to have new people come in, especially if you're learning how to tie. I am more than happy to help you out with any comments, concerns, accusations that you may have. We're all here to learn and enjoy this cool hobby. That's what it's all about. Again, just going to try and get one wrap in here, at least, before my hackle. Come on, there we go. I think I actually got that twisted the wrong direction, so let's retwist this. But that is a big part of this hobby, is learning from each other. I'll be old and farty, my eyesight will be gone, my hands will be arthritic from tying hundreds of thousands of flies, and I will still be learning from other people. Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. It brings me happiness. I definitely don't do vintage flies for the views. It's a selfish thing because it makes me happy. I like to kind of preserve some of the older ways of doing things. There we go. Not that one way or the other is any, better or worse. It's just all different parts of our hobby. But at some point, all these materials will be gone. Like all things that will come to an end. Okay, so we're going to palmer that. Hey. Why so twisty? Why so twisty? Come on. There we go. Oh, that one's wrapping a little crazy. Let's try and do that again. What's up with you? Why so crazy? Kind of feel like it's just a natural bend in the rachis, but it's going to need a little persuading. Get it to stand upright. Oh, it's almost impossible in Canada. I got like 5 jungle cock feathers left, and that's it. And I'm not using them, dang it. I'm gonna hang on to them. It has to be, if I tie a fly with it, I'll probably untie the fly just to get the feathers back. It's bad in Canada. They're not like illegal to own or whatever. It's just the laws for importing them are so hard now. The only way you can really get them in Canada is to already have them in Canada. You can't import them. So I use Starling as another good substitute. I should actually do some flies. Yeah, if I'm gonna jump on the whole streamer bandwagon, I will. I'm gonna separate this out a bit. I kind of made it a little too thick in the middle. And it's got its butt hanging out there naked. Separate that a bit so I get an extra wrap up front. But yeah, I feel like maybe moving to streamers might be a good idea for a week or two, eh? Yeah, in either case, the starlings, which are plentiful, legal, which is a nice thing, and an invasive species anyway. And one starling skin will give you gobs and gobs and gobs of feathers to tie from, so. That did break on me, so I'm going to try and bury this back a bit, make sure I got it in there. Pretty sure I got it okay. It did break on me right after I got it tied in. Seems to be the theme for these today. Yeah, jungle cock is one of those. It's a beautiful feather. Like I said, I got 5 feathers left, which is only really enough to do, you know, like 2 or 3 flies. But other than paying an arm or a leg for someone that already has one in Canada somewhere, and that's if they would sell it, you know. I'm not sure how I would get any. The majority of jungle cock are raised, yeah, and they have like a little, I don't have them handy or I'd show you some, but we'll get to that in the next couple days here. Like if I'm doing streamer flies, you'll see me using the starlings in place of the jungle cock. There, sorry, being a little OCD with the hairy head there. I don't like hackles sticking out of my heads. Sorry, back to jungle cock. So, starling have, as the name would suggest, have a nice little white poof or a star on black. And jungle cock is very similar, except it has the nice, you know, yellowy red and all that, which makes a really nice little eye. But you can take starling and a Sharpie marker if you want that yellowy red, and just color the little white part of the starling in, yellow or red or orange or whatever color you're going for, and make a suitable replacement for the eye. You don't have to feel bad, and you don't have to spend a ton of money. There's also imitation jungle cock synthetics, which are basically just a piece of plastic film with a jungle cock eye printed on it. I've used a few of them. I'm not a big fan, to be honest. One is they're really slippy. They're kind of hard to tie in because they're just plastic. They're basically like stickers. Hey, shark! Good morning, Devin. Did you end up getting anything that day? I watched you for quite a while. You weren't getting any luck. Yeah, like in I want to say Africa. I don't think it's Kenya, but somewhere in there. Yeah, jungle cock is it's basically just a type of chicken. Like it's not anything that's gonna go extinct or anything anytime. Just ran out of popularity, and there might have been some other issues with the way they were raising them. I'm sure whenever profit, you know, starts to play its hand, things can go sideways. But yeah, and my grandfather just hated starlings because they would just destroy the garden after it's planted. Because we get them like they're migratory here, right? We don't get them this time of year. There won't be any. They all move south when everything freezes. But yeah, they're an invasive species. I don't wish them ill or anything. But having your garden all freshly planted in the spring and then having them just come and obliterate it is a real... Oh, you did? Okay, I watched you for quite a while before, and I wasn't sure if you were heading back in or not. I was working, so I was kind of just uh, lurking like I do. A lot of times I'll be... Oh, okay. So is there like a better location over there then? I guess it's a 6 of one, half dozen the other. You got to spend the gas to get out there, right? Whether it's worth it or not. I'm glad you got a couple. It must have been like just after I left then. Yeah, I mean you wanna be safe, right? Well, you know better than anyone. There's times you want to risk it, and other times you just want to stay home. Especially this time of year when it gets colder, right? Is it more of like a cape or an inlet area, or is it what makes it dangerous? Is it more of a strait? I'm assuming you probably have like two convergences that cause a lot of um, wind and weather and waves and everything. Okay. Yeah, I'm learning so much watching your stuff from the commercial side of things. It's really cool. I enjoy it a lot. Like I said, my grandfather he would have lived that life every day if he had a choice. So, learned some from him, but being inland and interior, not exposed to it as much as I would have liked to. Okay. Yeah, he built. I think I mentioned that before. He built a boat that's. It looks very similar to yours, kind of same size. It's got had a sleeper in the front, but he handmade the whole thing himself. Had was a V8 diesel, I think it was. It was a rather large engine, actually, bigger than probably what he needed in it. But yeah, I used to take it out in the ocean all the time down Vancouver area. Fraser. And then he brought it up to the Okanagan after and had it parked there, and he used to fish in it in the Okanagan a lot. But that's where his heart was. He liked ocean fishing, like exactly like what you're doing. That was his jam. And he called his boat the Twilight. That was the name of his boat. But yeah, very similar to your boat. Brings back a lot of memories watching you on that thing, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think really he used that engine just because that's what he had. You know, he made his own props and keels and everything like that. His own ballast tanks. Everything was all handmade. Stable is all get out, though. He did a great job. I got some photos of it from when we were fishing on it when I was younger and not so young too, before he passed away. I'll have to dig those up. I can put them on the I'll put them on the community page if I can find them. Yeah, it's similar, but he had an actual flat-ish stern on the back, but very similar. When I dig up some photos, you'll see what I'm talking about. I think that's it for me today. I'm out of tea. All gone. We've been going 2 hours now, so I'm gonna go make me some breakfast and get ready for my work day. But this is my last work day. I got all the way off till next Thursday. Yeah, I'm off until next Thursday, so gonna be pumping out a bunch of content here and just getting all of my other jobs for. We got about 2 inches of snow last night, so I need to get at all the winter jobs before everything freezes to the ground. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I appreciate it. Shark, Robert, still there, it looks like. Oh, Doug. Maddie's probably still listening on his drive, which I appreciate. He was. Who else we have in? I think we had Victoria. I'm not sure if Valhalla dropped in. No, we had Victoria. Do we have? Oh, Wee Man. I don't think we had Valhalla this morning. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you're on, and I'll be lurking while I'm working, so I might not be talking, but I'll be watching. Later, Devin. Thanks, everyone. You guys all have a good morning. Stay safe and enjoy your Black Friday. Oh, sorry, Murphy. We're just closing up, mate. But yeah, if you want to subscribe and join us tomorrow, we're in here almost every morning about this time, tying some flies. Thanks for stopping in, though. I do appreciate it. You just caught me at tail end.